Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Aotearoa Whiskey Club's Whiskey 101 series. Now today we're going to talk about something that is extremely important in the whiskey industry. Today we're going to talk about the effects of wood, like why are barrels used and why is wood so important to spirits. In Scotland, where they can reuse the barrels time and time again and they can use different styles of barrels, it's very important. So for example, if you've got sherry that was in this cask previously, you extract the sherry, you put the whiskey in there. Now when you put the whiskey in there, it's crystal clear, as we've stated before, just like water. So when it goes into this sherry butt, it's going to come out after 12 years looking like this. The reason I can say that is this is from sherry cask. So you get that nice, dark, rich amber color. So the wood, it's imparting all the flavors of that sherry into this whiskey. You see, it goes in like that, but yet it comes out like this. Now, to compare, you've got, this is a 12-year-old whiskey from Scotland. This is a 12-year-old whiskey from Scotland, matured in sherry casks, matured in American oak casks. Now, when someone refers to an American oak cask, typically they're referring to a barrel that had bourbon in it previously. So extract that bourbon, and in America, by law, you can only use that barrel one time, and then it'll get broken down and sent to Japan, Taiwan, Scotland, Ireland, just wherever they're making whiskey. And believe me, we'll touch back into a later Whiskey 101 about why America can only use those barrels one time. But in Scotland and everywhere else in the world, they can reuse those barrels. So you've got the color, different flavor profiles of a sherry cask, different color, different profile from the American oak cask. Typically with your sherry casks, you're going to get things like Christmas cake, dark chocolates, ripe cherries, a bit of spice in there. With your American oak casks, you're going to get things like creamy vanilla, creme brulee, honeycomb. Obviously, they can be very different, but you know what I'm saying. You can kind of get there. Now, there's many other casks they'll use also. They'll use rum casks. They'll use Chardonnay casks. They'll use different styles of sherry casks, Oloroso, PX, Fino, and on and on and on. But that wood is exceptionally important because that's imparting the flavor. Now, there's a second part to this equation. When you look at these barrels, most of them, all of them in America will be charred like this. In Scotland, not necessarily. Sometimes they can use virgin oak, but typically these barrels are charred. So it's two-part process, more or less. Your charring is the spirit that's crystal clear when it goes into the barrel. As it makes its way, okay, the barrel will be moving. Expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. Every time that's happening, the spirit's going in and out of that wood, therefore passing in and out of that charcoal. Well, as we've talked about, that charcoal acts as a filter. So it's taking out the impurities of that spirit and leaving all these wonderful flavors of the wood. You'll have your saps and different other flavors in this wood, and that spirit picks up those amazing flavors and brings it back in. Henceforth, you get these color differentiations. Your sherry casks, if you look inside a sherry cask, typically it's a bit of a red and amberish color. The bourbon barrels you can't really see because, as I say, they're all charred like this. But you can definitely tell, if no coloring has been added, of when you get a darker whiskey like that it's been matured in a sherry cask. Same with your lighter cask. Clearly that'll be matured in an American oak cask. But yeah, so the inside of these barrels, this is what they'll look like with this full-blown alligator-style charring, this particular barrel anyway. And like I say, with the two-part process, you're using this charcoal as a bit of a filtering system. As the spirit makes its way in and out of the wood, it passes through that charcoal. And then once it's in that wood, it picks up all those luscious and beautiful flavors of the oak itself. So that's it in a nutshell. Why these barrels are so important. It goes from this to these lovely jewels. Okay, guys, that's it. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit on the wood end of things. And until next time, see you then.